Hey, what's up, guys? Let's finish off Fango, okay, with the very glamorous cover. The cover of the Mia Goth, from the X films, but I'm not really gonna cover it much because I don't have any interest. The X was okay. The second one, I really didn't like. I stopped watching it halfway through, and this one just doesn't seem very interesting to me. So I'm not gonna really focusing on it much. It's in the dawn of the '80s, the adult films start going on to video, cassette, renting. So it's like a sleazy, like I said, it reminds me of the film Vice Squad from the early '80s. Yeah, but I just don't have any interest. Sorry, darling. And you talk to Kevin Bacon. Remember Kevin Bacon? Remember Friday the 13th? Get the arrow put through his neck. But and of course, the great. Now I'm just gonna mention, of course, Tremors. Everyone loves Tremors. If you don't like Tremors, you're a jerk off, right? Very clever, well done FX, likable characters that aren't stupid, mostly, who figure things out. Okay, but an enemy that also figures things out. Yeah, in reaction to what they do. So yeah, the ensemble cast, but you're talking about, he's been in a lot of, I guess you could say, films that are fantastique. Little, little page out of that. So now we have what the by Cass Clark. They them. I'm assuming. Okay, warning: women wearing blue eyeshadow can be hazardous to small egos. So apparently, this article is about the blue eyeshadow connotes. Well, let's just see what we got here, right? When we see bold color, right, we know whoever dons it will not settle for life they do not deserve. Okay? Alright, so with the head-scratching history of heteronormative beauty standards in America, my God. Well, I would say countless millennia of heteronormative behavior, but that's only our late version of humanity. Let's say take hetero anyway. We're not even gonna try it. So, and it's like the gender reveal. I remember those things. I hate when people talk about gender reveals. But at the same time, it's like, isn't that sort of going against what's going on now? So, like, there's a character in this, the love witch. She lures men to their deaths. Oh, that's good. To love spells. So that's love. She weaponizes the objectification of her, right? Because they looked at her. I don't know, man. What is it? This is a little insight into, like, this is. Oh, it sounds very edgy, right? In the '90s, it's very edgy, right? Oh, the queer punk, right? Oh, it's like these people are so fucking bourgeois, so establishment, more than the countervailing views would have been back then. Okay, despite what they tell you, or I mean, the religious holy rollers. I keep saying in the '80s, they were already seen as freaks back then, and whatever influence they had is arguable. A couple of metalheads got pinned for a murder. A couple people got accused of satanic rituals. Okay, you want to talk about the reverse? No, you don't, do you? So, first of all, favorite subversive blue-lidded character. So it's basically because you wear blue eyeshadow, you're just so awesome. And the Jawbreaker. I never saw that. Darren Stein. She's basically she's talking about the character. She's basically the female personification of my own gay rage. Growing up in a heterosexual world, feeling like the other, because you were gay. Yeah, okay. My Jawbreaker was my fantasy high school, with Courtney being the personification of all the animosity I had towards the world. Right? You had rage against the world, Darren Stein. Why is that? Satan heals Satan. She doesn't just live life, she drinks it up. Red, bustier, high heels, blue eyeshadow, Jawbreaker, right? It was about taking the mean girl to Russ Meyer's territory. Yeah, overrated Russ Meyer. Punk rock, yeah, dude. You're so edgy, bro. You're so rebellious. Femme fatale, cherry bomb, hellbent on fucking shit up and looking flawless while doing it. Courtney is a character that vicariously gives us permission to say, fuck that. Yeah, you oh, I'm getting kind of, like, Even I can't take this. Whatever. No, right. She's an edge, but the edge. She's a rebel. She wants you to know, don't mess with her. That's right. Yeah. It's always funny too when you have people my age writing about this stuff now. It's always like, oh, remember how bad it was back then? Oh man, it was fucking terrible back then, wasn't it? It was fucking terrible back then. It's not gonna matter now as the deluge, the tidal wave, the rising tide will take you out. And where I am, I can see that, man. New York has changed even more than I can tell you. So, I like that. Her bold blue eyeshadow is war paint. Oh. And she's off to rule the world. Bitch, you ain't ruling nothing. You're a fucking tool, alright, for the real masters. I only want you motherfuckers to realize it in the last moments of your life, however that ends. But you won't. Alright, enough. So now this, I want to see this. I hear good things about this. Look at that cool ass mask. That is really cool. That is crazy looking. So, and this, what do you call it, an ambient horror film. And I don't want to give away the gore thing because that looks kind of cool. I wish they hadn't because I wanted to see the scene. But the director with the right, it was a firefighting mask from around the turn of the century. Obviously, the last century, right? My favorite period. It was like a diving bell for firefighters. So this is interesting. So this is sort of like, okay, in fires, they were trying to find a way to protect the firefighter when he's going in there. Very interesting. And of course, I always hear about the Psycho Gorman, the director of it, who's also like an FX guy. It's always great, like Terrifier. The dude is an FX dude. So like, if you're into FX, you should become a director if you're a low budget person because, hey, you got that all carried out. You got that all taken care of. So yeah, I definitely want to see this film. So I'm not gonna go. I don't want to give too much of it, but yeah, that is a cool character design right there. So, Texas Chainsaw is no. Texas Chainsaw is brilliant. When they bring up they were watching the first counterculture horror movie, the first movie to reverse the usual city-country dichotomy, make rural America into the dangerous forbidden zone, right? Which was the total opposite. At the time, the slaughter of cities was occurring. The first horror film used comedic elements that never became parody or satire. Yes, dude, there's nothing funnier when they want grandpa who you don't even know if he's still alive. He can't even hold the damn hammer. I think he's still alive. Sometimes I thought he was the corpse, but no, he was breathing, right? Poor bastard. He's trying to hit Sally Hardesty in the head with the hammer. He can't even hold the damn. That was fucking funny. But shout out Toby Hooper, man. The dude that gets of all the horror guys, he seems to not get enough respect, and I think he really deserves more. And also interesting in terms of the soundtrack. Him, I think he and his friend made the soundtrack. The soundtrack is literally like all just weird, like in sounds. You could argue it's like musique concrete or industrial, except these guys didn't even know what that was. They just kind of made it up. So very interesting. Alright, so we got here, got something about like kind of like the next the higher end of like, instead of like the haunted houses, they're like sort of like Grand Guinan, right? Interactive theatrical horror experiences, like the Grand Guinan, right? And this is a funny thing that I see happening, right? Year-round haunts. The idea that you have like horror themes for other holidays, Easter, St. Patrick's Day, the horror of vomiting all over fucking cold ass street, Valentine's Day and Christmas, right? I've even seen haunts hold events themed after the solar eclipse, right? Beltane, right? In fact, our Halfway to Halloween event, okay, is run annually for 3 years. Of course, you should call it Valpurgis Night. I'm all about making another horror dark holiday in the end of April myself, but yeah, it was interesting. It's always interesting to see, right? What comes out of your film. comes out of your moving photography, but it also comes out of your plays, right? Anyway, so we're going back to the old Fangos with yeah. I mean, you see, this was the epitome of it, like the special effects. So the authors, poor bad. Anyway, he had the flesh. This guy actually got the flesh-eating disease. He got a real disease, poor bastard. So covering. So this guy was I think the art director for Warren Publishing, right? Of course, the horror, these things in the '70s, right? These black and white horror. They're not comics. There's no code. They don't need a code because they're not comics, or you don't have to. You don't have to accept the comics code. Comics code wasn't mandatory. Just doing a little segue here. Oh, Chris Alexander. Oh, okay, from the old good Rumor. Jeez, it was interesting looking at the dude. This thing here, there he is now. All right, the time's a bitch. And of course, I keep mentioning with this horror magazine, right? It comes out quarterly. Rumor comes out bi-monthly. But there's going to be a lot of carryover. They're going to cover a lot of the same things, right? Because of the timing of it. Right? So Heidi Honeycutt again, you just spit on your celluloid. I never saw the Velvet Vampire. That is freaking cool. That's a cool scene. Look at that. Going over, the stuff here. Actually, I'll be honest with you. Like, Heidi doesn't come off unreasonable at all. I'm just being frank. I've seen her on the documentary, the best 50 horror films you've never seen, which I of course saw like 6 of them. She comes off pretty reasonable, Alright. This is interesting. Hey, look at this. You want to use horror for commentary? In the short section of the book, I love one called The Herd by Melanie Light. It's a short film and a radical vegan film about women being treated the same way that female cattle are in the dairy. Oh, the poor female cattle. Meanwhile, the male cattle they're all getting whacked and eaten. So, but it's your milk. Remember, right? What is it? Dairy is slavery. Meat is murder. Dairy is slavery. Radical vegan film. Let's make some radical, other side film. No. Like this. Roe versus Wade. Give me an A. So you have a pro-abortion horror film. I can't imagine, dude. What angle can you fucking possibly use? Whatever you feel about abortion, okay, my opinion on it is actually probably the most abysmal opinion you could have about it, and I won't say what it is. But the fact that, of course, coming from this thing, it's just interesting. There's nothing wrong with putting politics in your story and being overt about it, right? That's right. That is true. But whatever. Now this is where the art comes in, right? The sculpting. Okay, the sculpting. Of course, you sculpting clay, right? Remember the whole process, like right here, right? You sculpting clay on a foam headpiece or whatever they were using, like Mr. Savini here. Then you make your foam latex out of this mold. It's kind of like a foundry class in my high school, which I won't mention which it is. You can probably figure it out. Had a foundry room on the top floor, so you can probably guess which high school I went to. And the foundry work, you make the piece and then you make the mold around it, and then that's how you make it out of metal. Same thing with the foam latex. Okay, that was invented by Dick Smith. Okay, and you get some of the, look at the artwork. You know what's cool? I didn't know this, right? And the script for Creep Show, like the thing in the crate, that great friggin' story. The description was kind of vague. So we see a blur of fur teeth. That's the script. So of course you make sketches. You gotta have your art down. My man can sketch too. Right? Rob Bottin, I owe Rob Bottin so much for teaching me how to do it, how to make an animatronic creature. He took me to his house, he tore the skins off the mechanical heads from the Howling, and he showed me how to do it. So here's a man talking about how he learned how to do it. So, and I'm gonna have to probably do another an addendum vid. So, man, the block, remember little Eddie? Poor bastard. Oh, that scene friggin' comes out of nowhere, man. Holy crap. And sculpting. Look at this is an art form alone, right? And this is just to make the beginning of the latex, and of course the Tom Savini school. So in Pittsburgh. All right, we're gonna do an addendum vid. It's my channel. I can do what I want, but it's the weather's feeling good, man. It's so nice when it's dry and cool. So my Neanderthal, my European DNA stirs after Inferno of August.